Aloha and welcome to Connection to the Cosmos with your host, me, Dr. Lisa Thompson, where I have out of this world conversations with extraordinary people. And today I am really excited to have my special guest, Peggy Benson, on, and we'll bring her on screen in just a moment. But first, just a couple of announcements. So if you're watching this here on Facebook, we would love your comments. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe to the channel, and comments are always welcome. And if you're listening on any of the podcast outlets, thank you so much. And just keep tuning in each week for new guests. If you are going to be coming to the Big Island of Hawaii, come see me on one of my Big Island UFO tours and let me teach you how to look at the night sky in a whole new way. And for any of my products or services, you can find them at drlisajthompson.com, mysticmanta.com, and BigIslandUFOtours.com. So without further ado, we're going to bring Peggy onto screen. Hello,
Hi.
Peggy.
Hi. Aloha.
So let me just share a little bit about you to the audience, because you have a lot that you do. So Peggy Benson is an Elemental Space Clearer Lightworker, intuitive, advanced integrated energy therapy practitioner, visionary, certified yoga teacher, and creator of Mojo Mist. Ever since she was a child, she was very sensitive to the energy around her. Once she started studying intuition, meditating, and connecting with spirit, her clairaudience, clairvoyance, and claircognizance abilities came flooding in. Her goal is to guide you in freeing up space in your mind, body, spirit, and home to allow deep healing and to raise the vibration of the universe. Welcome, 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 Peggy.
I'm so happy to be here, Lisa. It's great to meet you finally.
I know, it's our first live conversation. And so because of that, it's going to be fresh. So I would love for you to share with me and the audience first how you grew up, what kind of household, because I know you're in Minnesota and a smaller town in Minnesota. And so I'm just kind of curious, how'd you grow up, religious, spiritual, something else, and then getting into the work that you do?
Okay. Yeah. So I grew up in a small town in Minnesota, and it's very Scandinavian here where I'm at. I'm Scandinavian myself, and religious background was Catholicism growing up. And, I just had a regular family. I have a couple. One of my fond memories of being a kid was my grandma would come over on Saturdays and we'd play games or cards or dice or things like that, and always have a little bit of coffee and treats, at 3:00. So that was pretty common. And then, as I grew up, and I've stayed here my whole life, and have dabbled in with the spiritual work, and as the years have gone past, I've gotten that stronger connection, done some reading with some of our same mentors like Sunny Dawn Johnston and Jody Harvilla and things like that. And it's just been a great experience developing this intuition, and it makes, your life run smoother with space clearing, and I'm so happy to share it with everyone.
Yeah. Well, so the transition from Catholicism, though, into the spiritual work, because would you consider yourself still Catholic? Are you a practicing Catholic?
No, I'd say I'm more of probably a Lutheran Buddhist.
Okay. Lutheran Buddhist.
Yeah.
Okay. So that transition away from Catholicism into the spiritual work, how did your family handle that?
It's been very open, and yoga kind of helped with that transition too. It's been very hand in hand with the spirit work that I do.
Okay, so
based on with yoga, we practice the intentions and of our poses, and it just flows off your mat into your life.
Okay, that's a beautiful way to look at it. So was yoga the first thing that you started doing professionally?
Yes, I did. So I've been a yoga student now for 20 years, over 20 years, probably 21 now. now that we're in a new year. And, I've met some wonderful people through that community and just practice. And then in 2016, I decided, well, I love yoga so much, I might as well be a teacher. So I went to yoga teacher training, and I also am a meditation teacher as well.
Okay. So I just keep telling me about that progression of like, so you're doing yoga, you become a teacher, you're meditating, so then you start teaching meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And then what came next after that?
And then I've been, dabbling went to some retreats and workshops and things like that, and really just fell in love with that. And then I decided to pursue my space clearing with Denise Lynn. As you may know, Denise Lynn is a space clearer, and she's just a wonderful, wonderful person. Has taught me so much. Jody Harvilla is also one of my space clearing mentors. And so it's been a great progression from the yoga to the space circle, really. And, with the space clearing, you're not only clearing your home, you're clearing your mind, body, and spirit as well. Just like you would in a yoga practice. Our space that we live in, is to be supportive of us. And if you remember, Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz said there's no place like home.
Yes.
And did you know that 1 in 11 people in America have a storage unit because we just are bombarded with possessions
Yes.
and things and clutter. And you, Lisa, deal with UFOs, but a different type of UFO than what I'm going to talk about. So a UFO in my world is an unidentified frozen object. So when you make things and, I'll freeze them and I'll eat them later, and then you take them out months later and say, well, what was this?
I love that.
That's one great place to start with clutter clearing, because with your space, oftentimes people are so overwhelmed, they have where to begin. And that's a great first step. And Denise's principle that she taught me is, do you love it or use it? And if the answer is no to both of those, then it's clutter.
Yep. I love that. Well, and I, in my former life, pre galactic ambassador, I, did design and staging and clutter clearing and all of that.
And feng shui.
Yes. So I love that you have that Denise Lynn connection. I didn't realize that we had that connection. And then, of course, Jody is one of my sisters. I love Jody. So amazing. Okay, so because I understand the importance of clutter clearing, but let's just talk about like what it can do, like, or why. First of all, why is clutter bad for us?
Well, clutter, if you have a storage unit, that's a financial burden. You're paying for this space that you're not even really out of it. It's not useful. And when we have clutter around us, our mind tends to become cluttered, and it's hard to make decisions. It's hard to be open to receive goodness and abundance and prosperity. Sometimes you feel like a tornado, when you're not grounded. And so by having space, you're able to flow and flow with life, and you're able to deal with situations and circumstances a lot cluttered and full, so to speak. Your house, if you think of your front door, that's the mouth of your house. So what goes in and out?
Okay.
You're letting in, and what are you throwing out? And of course, the windows are the eyes of your home. And so, what do you see? And, nobody ever likes to clean the windows, I don't think, but, it's something necessary to do because we see a fresh view, a new perspective and doing those types of tasks, like nobody wants to clean the toilet or wash the dishes, but it's showing your home some love and tender loving care. So just as you would do that with yourself, with self-cares, maybe you're doing massages or Epsom salt soaks and things like that, you're caring for your home. So Lisa, does your home have a name?
Oh, that's a Actually, I've never asked it.
Okay, so that's your homework, is what is your home's name? So you say, go to the front door, you have a keypad or what have you, you press that and touch that and say, hello, home, my name is Lisa, what's your name? And then you see what comes.
Okay. Very interesting. So we have multiple doors. So when you have multiple doors, because we do have I guess the door that leads into the main living, kitchen, dining. We have a completely different door that leads into the family room, and then we have the door that leads into our bedroom, which is the ohana. So would I just go to the main door, or
the door that you use the most? The door that you use the most.
Actually, the way that so we have kind of a courtyard, and our house is a U shape, like horseshoe shape. And so again, we have these multiple doors to get into different parts of the house. So I use them all probably equally.
And whatever one you feel most drawn to and connected to.
Okay. So everyone figure out what the name.
A lot of people have basements. Yep, the name of your house. And then after that, you're going to say, what do you need? And see what your house needs. And the first time I asked my house that, it screamed help, because I wasn't paying attention to it. You know, you get caught up in life. You go to work and you come home and kind of do your thing. You know, circumstances come into your life and you kind of put that on the back burner sometimes. That's just how life works. And so by help you, you know, help your day go and flow and be more productive, especially for people that, you know, have some handicap or health issues. I've had clients that, you know, strategically do things to their home that will help them. And it's like the house runs itself, so to speak.
Okay. But based on you talking about the windows, I can tell you for sure my windows need cleaning. We have a lot of windows in our house, and where we live, it's very dusty. We've got a lot of wind blowing the lava dust around, and so those suckers clean. But
yeah. Yeah, they like that little bit of TLC. So, you know, here in the Midwest and a lot of part of the Midwest area, we have basements. And so if you think about a basement, that's your foundation. When you're doing this work, I always look at that. You know, are there cracks in the floor? Do you feel like you have a steady foundation in your daily practices? Now, for myself, in the morning, I get up and I say a few little prayers and do some rituals and meditate every single day. And it just helps my focus. And when I don't do those things, it kind of, you know, goes to hell in a handbasket. And so routine, helpful as well. And our homes are supposed to be the reflection of ourselves, not just a storage unit, you know, for our stuff. And if you've watched the Hoarder Show, that definitely gives you some motivation to do some clutter clearing for sure. And it seems like the new year is a great time too, because people want to set some new intentions. Maybe they want to do some upgrades or remodel or change colors and different things like that. And that all plays a huge part in the space clearing process. It's one of the pieces that is key in space clearing. Isn't gonna, you know, be like a magic trick that helps you. You have to, it kind of gets you to see what's really going on with your emotional body and how it's transferred out into the world.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and so actually, speaking of the new year, I decided before New Year's Day that I was going to do a deep clutter clearing of my office and my closet, because even though I've only lived here for 2 years, it's amazing how much stuff we have acquired, because we only moved with 40 boxes. So I can tell you, like moving across the ocean, that was so freeing to really figure out what's important enough to ship, because we weren't going to bring furniture. So I'm like, okay, we're bringing stuff in suitcases and I'm shipping some boxes. And even some of the boxes that I shipped, when I open them, I'm like, why did I ship that? Why did I pay for that? And so anyway, but so 2 years later, really for me, I do know, I feel the difference when everything has a home, everything is put away, it's clean, I know where things are. It just, like you're saying, I mean, for me, it really frees my mind up to then now, like, I don't have to worry about that. I can actually get to work.
Well, and maybe it's a man with a walker and his son, and they have the garage door open, and the garage is just overflowing with stuff. And the father says to the son, "Someday this will be all yours." And the son's like going, "Oh dear Lord," you know. So part of the issue that we have is things that are sentimental, and we feel like if somebody gives us something and they've passed on, that we need to keep that. Well, they don't really care if you keep it or not, because and is always with you. So one of my recommendations is to take a picture of that object, that item, whatever it is, and that saves a lot of space.
Yes, it does.
And pass it on. And you know, who is it going to make happy by saving it?
Yeah. Well, I think people I guess there are some people that I have worked with, again, in that former like home staging world, where I would have to help people like really pack stuff away to get their house ready for sale. And like you're saying, sentimental stuff. And they don't necessarily understand their past loved ones. Like they haven't done mediumship or other things where they understand like their past loved ones are fine. Like they're like, yeah. You don't need to keep it.
Or the other aspect of it is well, they paid a lot of money for it, or somebody paid a lot of money for it, and different things like that. Well, money's just energy too.
Right.
Really.
Yes. Yes. Well, so how do
we clear our space? We can definitely raise that vibration, and you can feel it. You can feel it. You know, things look brighter. The colors seem more vibrant, and you just feel like a weight has been lifted off.
Yes. Well, so how do you actually help people with the psychological aspect of releasing items? Because it is really, it can be a deep rooted thing.
It can be. And so clients that I've said, I'm not called to clear for you. And I try and walk them through the process of, you know, who's the person that gave you the item, and how would they feel about it, and so forth. And I bring up the fact that the Swedish culture does something, it's called dostading, which is a Swedish death clearing. And they do this when they're in their middle ages, you know, 50 to 65-ish, because they don't want that to be a burden to the next generation. And I love that are minimalistic, and things are more linear if you think about it as a design aspect of it. And, you know, maybe they only have a closet with 7 outfits, because do you really need more than that? You know, it's a little bit more minimalistic and clean lines. And so by just incorporating those types of things into your life, it can really take the burden off.
Yes. Well, and I can tell you. So I'm a only child of my mother, who is I don't think she watches my show, but she's I'd call her a hoarder. And so I'm gonna I'm just dreading what happens when she passes away, because it's gonna be massive like dumpster time. But she has some really like amazing clothes and jewelry and really amazing stuff.
Yeah.
But I like, she's in Washington. I'm not bringing it here to Hawaii. I can't. And it's not my stuff. Right. So if only, if we could change the American culture to be more like the Swedish, that would be lovely.
Yes. Yes. Well, and even thank heavens, for these organizations that do estate sales and things like that too. A lot of people, when they're downsizing as they get older, perhaps, for example, my house has quite a few steps to get into.
Yeah.
And, in another 20 years, it's not going to be a live. Most people wait too late to move. And by downsizing, that kind of helps take care of some of that problem. And thinking ahead, where am I going to be in 5 years or 10 years? And, more people are having these living estate sales. And that's really become popular here in the Midwest.
Okay.
And it's really been a wonderful thing because, you're still able to recycle,
Yeah.
furniture and those, and that's been really, really a benefit. So when you think about the different rooms in your house, you're probably familiar, but maybe our audience is what the different rooms symbolize. So like the kitchen would be your nourishment and your connection, different stories that you've told around the dinner table. And your office is more your career, your goals. Your dining room and socializing as well, and family time. And your master bedroom is kind of your reprieve and your sanctuary for rest. And our bathroom would be our cleansing. Definitely a cleansing. So sometimes if you've had a rough day, what it feels the best is to take either a shower or a bath and just wash the day off.
Yeah.
So these different rooms in our home, have. One question I would have for you, Lisa, too, is do you have your toilet seat up or down?
Oh, always
lid.
The lid always down. Like,
good.
No, I'm actually kind of I don't like germs.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And there's another reason for that, because when you have that toilet lid up, you're washing away all that prosperity just right down the drain, if you think about it. Okay. And drain can hold energy. And so we want to keep those vortexes under control.
Okay. I love that. Okay. So if people are having problems in their personal life, then are you looking at these different rooms in the house? There's connection then from what I understand? Yeah.
Most definitely. Yeah. So for example, a TV in the bedroom, you're not sleeping. The TV needs to go.
Yeah. Well, also
that's pretty.
The TV in the bedroom also cuts into the intimate.
Definitely.
Your partner. Yeah.
Definitely. So another thing is like if you have insects in your home, like, sometimes you get ants just in the summertime here. That's boundaries. The boundaries are you're not setting proper boundaries. Water is the emotional thing. So my brother-in-law died, and the day after he died, dishwasher quit working. Well, it's grief. That water just not working right. It was a lot of grief energy there for them. And so it's really fascinating to me how everything's all connected.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so you may or may not know the answer to this. So this week we had to replace our garage door opener. So what does that represent?
Usually electricity means overthinking, and it could be related to just spending time at home, because your home wants you to be there.
Okay. Well, my home gets me every day because my office is here, and so I'm here more than anywhere else.
Yeah.
Okay. So what else can you share with us? So we're clutter clearing, right? So we're gonna
that's one of the first steps, yes. And the packet that I have people complete the day before I do their space clearing for them. I really want them to, write a letter to their home. And so that sets the intention of what it is, or business or camper or whatever space that it is, because, wherever you're at, there's energy. And then I generally have them put some salt in the carpet and let it set for a while, because salt absorbs negative energy.
Okay. So,
and using some essential oils.
because I have not heard that before about the salt. I know that it absorbs, but I didn't know about the putting it on the carpet. So do you just take like normal, table salt and you just sprinkle it all over the entire carpet?
Yeah, I like sea salt, that you actually have to grind, because it's an intentional thing. And so you're actually slowing down a little bit and doing that. And it doesn't have to be a lot. It's just a little bit. You're using some essential oils in your cleaning your floors, like the holy basil. It smells really good. And it's just that ritual cleansing that helps us clear our mind, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
And I always want people to get a really good night's sleep, and actually in the morning do a lot of protein, because it can be quite traumatic on the body sometimes. If you're not properly, people weep. I've had people scream. I've had, people that have just felt so joyful, and it's a really emotional process. So preparation is very important. So during the clearing too, I use mudras. Are you familiar with mudras, Lisa?
I am. I don't know them very well, but I know it, but share with the audience.
Yeah. So a mudra is a seal or a hand gesture. So for instance, most people would probably know the chin mudra, which is you taking your index finger and holding that. And so I have them just, yep. And you can put it down on your lap facing up, and that's receiving. And if you flip it over this way, where it's down, then it's more grounding. And if you're tuned into your body, which way you would want to position that. And that just helps that connection. So the mudra is a seal. It's an energetic seal that helps with your prana, your life. And I do that a lot in my yoga classes as well. Denise has created some mudras that we as space clearers use during the process as well. And so just sitting in a relaxed position, breathing. And I also, like to find out what the house number is of the person. And then I do some research on the different numerology aspects of it. I'm not a numerology expert, so I do need a little help from then, kind of tell them the meaning of what their numbers are. Like my house number is 918. And I didn't realize this. We've lived there for 32 years, that 8 + 1 = 9.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting how that happens as well. So my home's name's Zelda.
Okay.
And we have
Zelda,
such a good relationship now. She tells me what she needs, and I was just expecting her to perform like an athlete, but not nurturing her and giving her the tools that she needed. And now, as the years have gone by, we've done some remodeling projects and painting and things like that. And it's really, really just made such a difference. And most people either have a summer home or a winter home. And what I mean by that is how does it feel? Does it feel like it's light and airy like the summertime? Or does it in a blanket in the wintertime? And I would say my house is more of a summer house. It faces south, so you get all that great light and energy all year round. But it just feels really light in the summertime, specifically. And in the wintertime, it's just beautiful when that light comes in that front window, and just, you're kind of sitting on the couch and it just streams over your body, and you just really feel warm And yeah.
So
And
my house is definitely a summer house.
mhm.
But the one back in Olympia, now that you've described that, definitely a winter house. It even
Mhm.
looked kind of like a ski chalet because it had
Mhm.
a loft A-frame kind of peak and
Yes.
lots of wood.
Yeah. And for a lot of turning inward then, if you think about it that way too, especially in the wintertime, we want to do some, yeah, that's awesome. So our bodies can mirror our homes. So if we're feeling, tired, fatigued, if you look at your house, and I like to use like the doors for an example, how you open and shut the door a lot, like your bathroom door, for example, and then the paint kind of starts to chip off if it's painted, things like that. And just noticing those different things in your house, or the quarter round, if the quarter collects dust and things like that, to tune into those kinds of things to see what that mind body connection is.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you're talking, all of my house is definitely talking to me. So she's like, listen up, Lisa. Listen to what Peggy's saying.
Well, yeah. And also too, sometimes have you ever went into a space and felt like you got goosebumps?
Yeah.
Like it was kind of creepy
Yes.
and eerie?
Yeah.
Or you go to a friend's house and everybody says, oh, your house is so welcoming and your house is so warm, or your house is so comfortable.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Excellent. So, okay. So then what else? I mean, okay. So when you're doing the clearing, because so you clear houses in person, but also remotely.
Correct. Yes. That's the beauty of that, because energy doesn't know time and space.
Right.
And so it looks a little bit different probably for the client. It probably doesn't feel quite as tangible, but it's yet still very effective. And so I, chat with the client. If I'm going to do a remote clearing, we chat on the phone, and I talk to them about what we're going to be doing. And they, in their mind's eye, during the clearing appointment, they're sitting in with that mudra position, and they're imagining that, seeing me going through the rooms in their homes. There's a lot of different ways that you can clear. And one of my favorite tools is sound, because sound is very healing. And for people that live in apartments and maybe you can't burn sage or Palo Santo or any incense, it works wonders. And everybody likes sound mostly. And I have a couple of different sound tools that I use. I have a drum, and I use that. And it's whatever spirit as far as those types of tools go. Whether it be, like I said, my drum, or this I have here this is my rattle. That's Roman.
Okay.
And that's great when there's kids in the house, because then they help me. And you wouldn't believe how good kids are at clearing energy, because they're open. They don't have this expectation.
Yeah.
And they're very curious, very curious. And they're very, very intuitive, very intuitive. And then my other little tool that I have, a little gong, and this is Miyagi. This is my little gong Miyagi. And so I don't know if that's resonating.
I mean, I can hear it.
That sound, yes.
Yeah.
And that's very cleansing. So I take these tools too, and I go around the person's body as well.
Okay.
With that. And I also use, this is a Palo Santo stick, which looks like so. And this one, of course, has been burned. And this is a sage bundle. And then I also sometimes use, it just depends, like I said, I'm really drawn by what spirit talks to me and tells me, and what the client needs. And this is an incense cone, and it's just a little tiny cone. And I make an altar, whether it's in person or remote. We do an altar.
Mm-hmm.
And I find a nice cloth to use with some candle crystals. I like to use a lot of rose quartz and citrine. And then spirit again will guide me into what other stones I need. I use a lot of agate because agate is indigenous to Minnesota with Lake Superior here.
Okay.
And it's very grounding. The other thing that I love to use is my creation called Mojo Mist.
Oh, I was going to ask you about the Mojo Mist.
That's my space clearing spray. So it's portable and you just shake it and you just spritz it around.
Okay.
So for people smoke or maybe have some breathing issues, it's an earthy scent. It's got sage and Palo Santo, cedarwood, linden blossom, a little bit of rose water. And then for preservative, we use vodka and Pacific sea salt. And then I have a peridot stone in there.
Okay.
And that's went with me on vacation, many different places. So I have some in the car. I have some at work. And there's different types of energy in places. You know, sometimes you can kind of feel a predecessor energy.
Yeah.
Or maybe some sadness, you know, like if somebody has passed away and you're going someplace, you know, it's kind of nice to have that handy to use, and you can use it indoors or outdoors. You know, it's fairly safe for pets. I would always ask your veterinarian before you would use it around any pets or children, you know, and pregnancy, probably not something you would just always check with a medical professional before you would do that. And then the beauty of the ingredients in that is they're all organic. And I take my moon blessed water and I set the water out on the full moon and charge it with the full moon and put some intentions in it and then make my creation. And it's been just a fun process to do that and a labor of love for sure.
Excellent. I never thought about putting the stone into the oil for the spray, but I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and so if you think about sage specifically, it's more antimicrobial. So you're getting a lot of benefits out of each element of what is in the spray as well. So I love that. And linden blossom is just a nice, more sedative effect. It's not too potent. It's just a light scent, and rose water. You know, when you think about rose, and so I like to bring that in. So we're taking this energy that's negative or heavy, and we're having Mama Gaia recycle it, and then we fill it up with love and light.
Okay, beautiful. So in a house, would you do all of those things with the sound and the sage and then the Palo Santo and then the spray? Or
you can. It just depends on when I walk in.
Okay.
What it feels this hard. And sometimes that's the case. Or if it's just something that's a little bit more gentle. You know, some clients do a few things on their own. And so it's not as dense or heavy feeling. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, if you think about, you know, the seasons, it's a great thing to do is to clear your home every season, you know, at least 4 times a year. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You are definitely inspiring me here, Peggy, to take to number one, get my home's name. I definitely want to know what her name is, but clean her windows, clean. Yeah, there's some, now one thing that I am doing that she was wanting me to do, but I also I need to do this is we have 7 different ceiling fans in our house.
Mm-hmm.
And they are all really old. That's one thing that they didn't not upgrade before when they put the house on the market. And, you know, I know for me, like light fixtures and things like that, because they're the accessory of the house, just changing things like that out can make a huge difference in the youth of your home.
Definitely. And so, for example, like one of our living room lights, I have more of a yellowish bulb in it. that's a little bit softer. And I like that one more for at night, to like read or something, before bed, especially. But if it's around dinner time and things like that, and I'm maybe sitting doing something, then I'll turn on the light that's got a little bit more what color to it. And that's definitely, a personal choice too. But even your chandeliers, sometimes you change the globes out. And I did that during COVID with my chandelier in the dining room and our grandkids' room. It was just amazing how much better the light just shone right on the ceiling in the dining room just by switching those little globes around.
Yeah.
It was really nice. A nice feeling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so what I guess what I want people to understand by listening to you and just really this conversation is that our environment impacts us greatly. And, when I wrote my book, Sacred Soul Spaces, it was really taking a look at like, you are in this multidimensional environment. And so, whether it's the clutter, it's the colors around you, it's the way your furniture is placed and how much stuff you have, it's the scents, the cleanliness, all of it actually matters and we don't realize it.
We just kind of take it for granted. Absolutely. You're 100% right on that. Things. So I'll share a little story about Christmas time and if you know what like white elephant is.
Yes.
Okay. So we play that and somebody had brought a beautiful crystal bowl that was from Italy. And I thought, oh, wow, why would somebody get rid of it? And so, of course, I thought I needed it, which I really didn't. But it does bring me joy to look at it. It looks beautiful in my china hutch, and pass it on to someone in time. And it's just interesting how we place value and thought into different things. Back in the 80s, people did a lot of collecting. Whether it be precious moments or Boyd's bears or all those types of things. China, even honestly, nobody wants that anymore.
No, they don't.
It's a chore. Energy to have all those things, which sometimes you get started on something and then you like have to go, okay, we're going to cut this off now. No more of that. So for me right now, it's been books. And so I love books and I have a whole cabinet of books that I still need to read. So I have to be my own advocate and make sure that I pass those on once I'm done reading them and not keep them because I might need that information later.
Yeah. Well, and
look it up, the beauty of the internet.
Yeah, very interesting because that is actually one of the things that I had to clear out of my office were books. Mm-hmm. And, some of them are books of friends, that I was on their team, like their advanced reader team, and I bought the book and all that. And the books are amazing. But then I'm like, okay, so then there is this kind of like, can I give that away? Or
it pulls at your heartstrings.
Because the sentimental part, I'm
definitely pull, but just
I'm generally not a very sentimental person when it comes to stuff like that. But there's just something though, I guess, about supporting my soul sisters.
Yes, I'm with you 100%. Yeah. Well, the beauty of it is half price books is a great resource. And that's usually what I try and do is purchase books through that vendor. And then the other rule that I have with stuff, clothes is a really good one is one comes in, one needs to go out. One in, one out. That can apply to pots and pans too. when you get married, you kind of, get a lot of these things or whatever. And if you have two whole households and you join into one, you have all this stuff and you're like, well, do I need 5 big frying pans? Probably not.
Yeah.
So more opportunities for making it easy to get those passed on to someone else, either by Facebook Marketplace or, these different flea markets and all those kinds of things. It used to be everybody had a garage sale. Well, I don't know as if people do that so much anymore.
They do here.
Okay.
And we're going to be having one next month because again, even though we've been here 2 years, we have stuff. My husband, he's like,
it's a really good rule to just go through things. And, when you have a friend that you're connecting with, then that kind of holds you accountable as well. So that's a good idea too. And it can be really overwhelming. So even if you just start with one drawer, and if you think about it this way, there's 365 days in a year. If you threw away one thing every day, you would be 365 things that you would have, that would free up your time and your space.
Yes. Yeah. Well, so for you, doing this, like in your household, do you notice a difference in your family when you have gone through this process every quarter, like you're saying, to do a cleanse every quarter?
It does help. So it's just my husband and I live in the house, and our kids and grandkids come and visit and play and things like that. So the last time our grandkids were here, and of course they want to bring all the toys out into the living room, not in their room where I'd like them to be, but in the living room.
Yeah.
And so they were picking up the toys, and one of them said, no, that's not the right place. And they call me Bestemor because they have so many grandparents, and Bestemor is grandma in Norwegian.
Okay.
And so the one says, well, that's not where Bestemor would want it. She put it back here. So I, instilled in that things have their place, appreciate what you do have and have a spot for it and be organized, because when you're organized with your desk, even for example, you're easier to find things. It's a time saver.
Yes.
And you don't feel, frazzled.
Yes, for sure. Well, and actually, when my kids were young, I had a really hard time with all the toys, but my method for storing them, especially in the living room, just because that was the space that they needed to play with them, was I had storage ottoman, like a big storage ottoman as my coffee table, and even on the side table storage, so that I could hide the clutter, because clutter, I mean, I get really affected energetically with clutter.
Yeah. So we have another great thing when you're talking about different furniture designs. I love that you brought that up, because, even end tables that have drawers in them, or for instance, our TV stand isn't a TV stand. It's a dresser. And then there's also doors that open.
Yeah.
And so that's nice, so you can kind of, it's fun to design like that too, because, I wouldn't have thought of it before, but my aunt is an interior designer, and she said, well, why don't we try this for a TV stand instead of, remember the big old entertainment centers that were these giant things?
Horrible. Yes.
Thank goodness they went away.
Yes.
And the old fashioned, stereo that, thank heavens for Alexa, and just minimizing that too. I mean, vintage is kind of fun to have too, and things like that, but it's nice to be able to have it on a little bit smaller scale.
Yes, I agree. Well, and I just, even again, for people who work from home. So in Olympia, in my living room, my end tables, my side tables next to my sofa, they had pull open cabinet kind of style with shelves. And that's where I would put all of my paperwork that I was working on during the day. I didn't like working up in my office. I liked being on my couch next to my fireplace and it's really cozy.
Yeah.
It's my power position in my house. And so anyway, so I was able to hide those papers away. And so, yeah, so for those of you who work from home or have kids, like really to keep the clutter to a minimum,
Mhm.
and really help you stay energized, think about your furniture because there are amazing,
Mhm.
amazing things nowadays. And like you're saying, be
Yeah.
creative. Yeah, yeah. Use a dresser for your TV stand or use something else that's like dual purpose,
Mhm. Yeah,
multi-purpose.
that's the beauty too of repurposing things. Um, and it's really beautiful how you can turn something, and give it a little bit more life. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, and if you're like me and you kind of like quirky things, you can always paint stuff too to make it look fun and unique and different.
Yeah, yeah, that's a lot of fun too. I love that as well. So, yeah, in my office here, I have my bigger gong, and so I brought it home, and my husband was just like, "Really?" But I take it to yoga class sometimes and do some sound healing with it and things, and that has just been, again, again with the sound, do that, play my gong. And the other thing that I suggest that people do and try is when you're in the kitchen making dinner, dance while you're doing it. Move that energy. If you've had a bad day, you just put on Taylor Swift and you shake it off, right?
That's one of my husband's favorite sayings. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
he's just shake it off, shake it
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just moving your body
Hmm.
too will help move that energy out.
Yes.
And
Beautiful.
dancing is a great way to do it. You have to, it's not stressful on your joints or anything like that.
Yeah.
So this summer, I was at a festival and I had a booth there, and there was someone there doing hula hoops. And let me tell you what, she was teaching me how to hula hoop again. And it was so much fun. It was
Yeah.
so much fun.
So, okay. So, Peggy, I would love for you to share how people, like, what different kinds of ways can they work with you and how do they find you?
Yeah. So my website's peggybenson.com. I'm on Facebook, Peggy Benson Space Clearing Specialist. And those are the two main ways that people can get a hold of me. And if you sign up for my newsletter on my website, I have a free meditation that you can get. I do a monthly newsletter and talk about different tips and things in regards to space clearing and just energy and some tuition, bringing some of the clairs in as well. So
Okay. And so, what are the different, because we have people listening from all
mhm,
over the place, like
mhm,
mainland Canada, maybe even Europe and Australia. And so,
mhm.
you can do clearings remotely. What
Yes.
else, like, what else? What are your other services that they could get remotely?
So I do what's called a chakra cleanse as well, and that's a little black mini body scrub. So if you're into your own body, I do that. I also do integrative energy techniques, and what that does is it's using the angels to call upon them to help remove what it is. Maybe it's grief or strife, and then you're filling that back up. And that was developed by Stephen Thayer, and it's very similar to Reiki.
Okay.
Hmm. But you're
Okay.
using more of angel type energy. And so beings being that I pulled a card and I thought about you when I was picking my deck. And so I picked Kyle Gray's Gateway to Light Activation.
Mm,
And so that's more of a multi-dimensional type card. So the card that I picked for everybody today,
yes.
it's karmic board clearing, energetic clearing, and rewrite your story and live your truth. And so this is what it looks like.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Kyle Gray. Love his messages, spiritual beings, and these spiritual beings that come into our lives that we can call upon. help us heal and clear that energy, and make this experience that we have as a human in a body full of purpose and love and happiness.
Yes.
So I love that. I just love how things are so synchronistic.
They are. Well, I love that card. That's perfect, because I don't know what the rest of the deck looks like, but like that card is perfect for what we're talking about.
Yeah. It's just amazing how that happens. So, and the other thing too, to just get into the intuitive side of things is just think about your spirit team. And if you don't know what that is, just do a little journaling. Sometimes people can automatic write, or you just do meditation and you imagine that these, and they're there to support you and help, but you have free will, so you have to ask them for support. So I have a whole team of people, and I have clearing guides too. My main clearing guide is Truman, and he's very helpful to me at getting the messages delivered from spirit, and to see what the client needs and how I can help them and bring love and light into their home and their space.
Beautiful. Well, Peggy, we are out of time now, but I have really enjoyed having you on, and I know that our listeners have really hopefully learned at least one new thing about their house, because even though this is the kind of work I used to do, I didn't even think to ask my house what her name was, or things like that. So you have inspired me, and I hope you've inspired other people to really take note of your environment that you're living in. And again, then you can apply that to your office, to your car, to every other space. And if you need extra support and help, Peggy can help you out.
Yes, I definitely can. I'm so happy that you had me on, Lisa.
Thank you. And PeggyBenson.com. That's how you can find her, and on Facebook. And so I will see you all next time. Aloha.
Aloha.